over the left side of the Unit 1 review. If you notice on my screen, I also have Desmos, the star version, already open. I would strongly suggest having that open in a separate window or tab as well. All right, so the question 1, it says simplify each expression. Okay, so before I even start, I'm going to write down my order of operations. PEMDAS, okay? Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, addition, subtract, okay? So the first thing I need to look is, are the parentheses? Well, there are here, okay? 7x minus 3. Those are not like terms. So I look immediately, there's no exponents, so I look immediately outside the parentheses. There's a 2. That tells me I need to multiply or distribute, okay? So what that gives me is 6 plus 2 times 7 is 2 times 7, 14. So 14x. And then 2 times negative 3 is minus 6. Okay. Now, technically, this is not simplified yet because I still need to see if I can combine like terms. And I can. A 6 minus 6. Well, 6 minus 6 is 0. So really, this simplifies to 14x. Okay. Same thing on letter B. I see parentheses, okay. 1 minus 2x are not like terms, so now I'm going to look on the outside. I have a 3 I can distribute, okay. So 3 times 1 is 3. Oh, and notice I haven't done anything with that 7. So 7 just comes along for the ride. So I still get that 7 plus. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times negative 2x is negative 6x. Almost right, negative 2x. Okay. And then finally, we want to see if we can combine like terms. These two are straight up numbers, or also called constants. So 7 plus 3 is 10. So this simplifies to 10 minus 6x. I must circle my answer. Okay. And then finally, letter C. Once again, if you ever see a minus x like that or a negative x, put a 1 there. Just a lot of students, in my experience of teaching, struggle with that concept. So I'm still going to distribute. So 5 times negative 1x is negative 5x. 5 times negative 7 is minus 35. It took me a second. And I still got that plus 19. Okay? Once again, I can combine like terms. So that simplifies to, well, negative 35 plus 19. And in my calculator, I'll type in negative 35 plus 19 is minus 16. So I have negative 5x minus 16. Okay. Now, since these are all one variable expressions, I can, if I was taking a multiple choice test and I wanted to see which ones, if an expression is equivalent, I could type in my original, the question, 6 plus 2 parentheses 7x minus 3. Okay? It gives me a line. Okay? And then if I type in 14x, it gives me the exact same line. You can see that they're right on top of each other. Okay? So that tells me that they are equivalent. That tells me I did do my work correctly. Okay? Let's look at number 2. It says, what is the solution? Okay? So once again, we're going to use the same steps we've been using for solving equations. The first step we want to ask is, can we distribute? And I see parentheses here on the left and the right. So I'm going to draw a line down my equal sign. Think of it like my imaginary wall. So first I look inside the parentheses. 2x plus 5. Nope, those aren't like terms. Is there a number attached to it? Yes, 2, but not just 2, negative 2. So I'm going to distribute a negative 2 here. If I look on the right, I also have a 3 on the outside of this parenthesis, so I'm going to distribute the positive 3. Notice I did not do anything with the 14x. It's just going to come down for the ride for right now. Okay, so negative 2 times 2. If I was going to type that in my calculator, I would type negative 2 times 2. Notice I did not put the x. If I put an x, it doesn't give me this negative 4, which is what I want. So negative 2 times 2x is negative 2x, okay? And then negative 2 times positive 5 is going to be negative 10, okay? 3 times 1x is going to be 3x. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. Okay? And just to show you that it is, 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. That's where I'm getting that from. Okay? I've distributed. After that, I'm going to combine like terms, if I can. So I'll look on the left. 14x minus 2x minus 10. This minus 10 is just a straight up number, but these two have x's. So 14x minus 2x, 14 minus 2 is 12x. I still got that minus 10. 3x minus 21, well, the 3x has an x. 21 is a constant. Those aren't like terms, so bring those down. Okay. After I've combined like terms, I'm going to collect my variables to one side. So I need to ask myself, do I have variables on both sides of the equal sign? I do. I have 12x on the left, and I have 3x on the right. So I personally like to move the smaller one. So I'm going to move the 3x. And to move it, I need to do the opposite operation. Well, this is a positive 3x, so I'm going to subtract 3x. And what I do on one side of the equal sign, I have to do on the other. So 3x minus 3x is 0. 12x minus 3x, and if you don't know what that is, just type in 12 minus 3. That's positive 9x. And then I'm going to bring down the minus 10, and I'm going to bring down the negative 21. Okay? Now, after I have collected variables on one side, I'm going to move my constants to the other side. So the straight up number that's on the left side with the x is minus 10. So the opposite of minus 10 is plus 10. And what you do on one side of the equal sign, you have to do on the other. Negative 10 plus 10 is 0. That's why we're getting rid of it. So I'm kind of running out of room, so I'm going to write it up here, okay? So I got 9x equals, and then negative 21 plus 10 is negative 11. Okay, oops, I hit the wrong button. And then after I bring on that negative 11, then finally, the last step I need to do is I want to get rid of the coefficient of x. And that's almost always going to be division. And in this case, it is. It's going to be division, so I'm going to divide both sides by 9. And I get x equals negative 11 over 9. Now, why did I leave it as a fraction? Well, if I type negative 11 divided by 9 in my calculator, it gives me a nasty decimal. So as a simplified fraction, it is just negative 11 over 9. There's my answer right there. Oh, and always circle your answer. Okay? If I want to move on to number 3, it says what's the value of x in the equation below? Okay, once again, first step is to ask, can you distribute? Well, there's no parentheses on the right, so no. But on the left there is, so I'm going to distribute this 1/2. Now, don't let fractions scare you. 1/2 just literally means 1 divided by 2. Or, if you want to think of it as a decimal, 1 divided by 2 as a decimal is 0.5. Okay? So, I'm going to say 0.5 times 8 is 4. So, times 4, 8x would be 4x. And then 0.5 times negative 12 is minus 6. Okay? And I still got that negative 2x plus 9. Next step is to see if we can combine like terms. Well, 4x minus 6 are not like terms. That one has an x. Minus 6 doesn't. Negative 2x plus 9 are also not like terms. I can't do that. So now I'm going to collect variables to one side. Well, I have 4x here. I have negative 2x here. I'm going to move the smaller one. In this case, it's the negative 2x. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. 4x plus 2x is 6x. I still have that minus 6. I'm going to bring it down. I still have that positive 9, so I'm going to bring that down. Okay. After you have collected the variables on one side, we're going to gather all the constants to the other side. So I'm going to move this negative 6 by adding 6 to both sides. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. Once again, I'm kind of running out of room. That's okay. So I'm going to write 6x equals, and then 9 plus 6 is 15. Okay. And then the last step is we're going to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by the coefficient of 6. And I'm going to type that in my calculator. So I'm going to say it's 15 divided by 6, 2.5. Or as a fraction, if I hit that little button on my Desmos, 5/2. So x equals 2.5, or x equals 5/2. And I'm putting it as both because as a test, you might see your answer choice as a decimal, or you might see it as a fraction. Okay? More often than times, you probably will see it as a fraction. Okay? Number 4, it says, what makes the value of x, what's the value of x makes the equation true? Okay, it's kind of weirdly written. All that means is it's just asking us to solve for x. Okay? So here we go. First step is to ask, can you distribute? Well, I see parentheses here, so I'm going to multiply through. Okay, so 4 times 2 is 8, so 4 times 2x is 8x. 4 times positive 1 is positive 4. Okay. There's nothing to, there's no like terms here, so I'm just, excuse me, there are like terms here. I'm going to simplify those in a second, but there's nothing to distribute. Okay, now I'm going to see if I can combine like terms. So on the left, there's x's. So I got 3x minus 1x. That's going to give me 2x. And then I still got that plus 4. 8x plus 4, hopefully you're catching on a pattern. This has an x, this one doesn't. So I'm just going to bring it down. 8x plus 4 is just 8x plus 4. Okay. Now after I have simplified terms on both sides, I'm going to collect the variables to a single side. So I have 2x on the left, I have 8x on the right. I still prefer to move over the smaller variable. So I'm going to move over this positive 2x by subtracting it on both sides. So 2x minus 2x is 0. 8x minus 2x is 6x. I'm going to once again bring down my constants, so plus 4, plus 4. Okay. Now, after I've collected variables to one side, I'm going to gather all the constants to the other. So I got to get rid of this plus 4 by doing its opposite, which is minus 4. 4 minus 4 is 0, and 4 minus 4, I'm once again running out of room, is 0. So 0 equals 6x. That's okay. Then finally, after we get the constants on one side, now we're going to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. And then if I type in 0 divided by 6, it's 0. So 0 equals x, or x equals 0. Same thing. Okay? All right, let's look at number 5. It says, what makes this one true? Okay. So once again, we're going to follow the same steps. First step is to ask, can you distribute? Well, I got parentheses there, so I'm going to multiply through. So 6 times, I'm going to put a little 1 in front of that in case you don't remember. If you just see a variable by itself in parentheses like that, it means there's one of them. So 6 times 1 is 6. So 6 times 1a is 6a. 6 times negative 4, 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. Okay? I'm still going to bring down this 8a plus 6 minus a. Okay? Then I'm going to see, can I combine like terms? Well, on the left, I have 8a plus 6 minus a. I can combine my a's. So if I have 8 here, take away 1 is going to give me 7 of these a's. Plus 6. Now, 6a minus 24, these are not like terms because this one has a variable a and this one doesn't. So I'm just going to bring it down. 6a minus 24. All right. Now I'm going to gather all my variables to a single side. So I have 7a's here. I have 6a's here. Once again, I like to move the smaller one. So they're both positive. So I'm going to move the 6 to the left by subtracting it. 6a minus 6a is 0. And then 7a minus 6a is 1a. So I'm just going to put a plus 6 equals negative 24. Notice I still brought down my constants. Also notice I brought down the negative 24 with that, okay? Brought down the negative sign. And then after I moved my variables to one side, I'm going to gather all my constants to the other. So I'm going to get rid of this plus 6 by subtracting it. Subtract 6. And guys, don't do negative 24 minus 6 in your head because I've been a math teacher long enough to know that students make mistakes. That's going to give you negative 30. So a equals negative 30. The last step would usually be to divide, but if you have a coefficient of 1 like we do here, we've already solved it. Okay? If I was going to check this, guys, okay, I could do one of two things. I could plug negative 30 in for my variable, or I could graph the left side and the right side and see where they cross. Let me show you. Now, if I'm going to graph it, I'm going to change all that variable a into an x. So I'll say 8x plus 6 minus x. Enter. Then I'll say 6 parentheses x minus 4 close parentheses. Oops. Close parentheses. And then I'm going to see where these things cross. And I might need to zoom out. Let's make this a little bigger. So let's see. Can I? And let's see. Let's just zoom out until I see it. See where they cross? Somewhere around here. They cross at -30. Remember, if I'm doing this graphing method, I only care about the x value, the first value. Don't worry about that -204. And once again, my answer is -30, so it worked. Cool. All right. So while I'm going through this, I strongly recommend pausing as I go through a problem and then trying the one on the right. Okay? So I'm going to turn the page. I'm going to go to the back to number 6. Okay? If I can get it centered. All right. It says, what value of x make the equation true? Okay. So before I even start it, I'm just going to try to graph this, okay? So I see 0.5 parentheses 2x minus 6 close parentheses. I see the equal sign. That tells me to hit enter. 0.2 parentheses 4x minus 10. Yeah, you got to type it in accurately, okay? Then I'm going to see what I can find, where I can find that thing. So I'm going to I hit the default zoom. I'm going to see where they cross. They look like they're crossing here. So I think the answer is 5. Let's double check, okay? So I'm going to use the same steps. I'm going to ask myself, can I distribute? Well, there's parentheses there, so we'll multiply through. So I'm going to do that there, and then that there, okay? So I'll do, and I'm going to keep this stuff up. So I'm going to hit 0.5 times 2. That gives me 1. So 0.5 times 2x is 1x. So I'll say 1x. And then 0.5 times -6 is -3. So I'll say 1x minus 3. Okay. And then now I'm going to do this stuff here. Okay. So I'll say 0.2 times 4 is 0.8 x. And then 0.2 times -10. So -10, which is -2. All right. All right, now I want to get my variables to one side. So I'm going to move the smaller variable. Once again, I'm going to 80 cents is less than $1. So I'm going to subtract 0.8x from both sides. Those go away. And then if you don't know what 1 minus 0.8, just doing your calculator, 1 minus 0.8 is 0.2. So I have 0.2 x minus 3 equals -2. Don't let the decimals scare you. Just think of it like money. Now I've moved my variables to the left. Now I'm going to move my constant to the right. So the opposite of -3 is +3. So -3 plus 3 is 0. And then -2 plus 3 is +1. So I get 0.2x equals 1. And then the last thing we want to do is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 0.2. Those cancel out. And let's do that. Let's type in 1 divided by 0.2 is 5. X equals 5. And what did we say our point of intersection was? 5. Once again, we did it correctly, okay? All right, let's look at number 7. It says, the cost of purchasing songs from an online service can be found using the following equation. C equals 1.39D plus 3.5, where C represents the total cost and D represents the number of songs downloaded. If Josh spent a total of $20.18, how many songs did he download? Okay. All right. Well, we have to figure out where that $20.18, which variable it replaces. Well, it says C represents the total cost and D represents the number of songs. Okay. Well, what is 20.18? It's in front of it is this symbol, the money sign. So the money goes where the money goes. the c. So I'm going to replace the c with 20.18. And then I'm going to rewrite it. 1.39 d for download plus 3.50. And now we can just solve this thing, okay? So what I'm going to do is, there's no parentheses to distribute. These are not like terms. That one has a variable. That one doesn't. So now I have a variable on the right, but none on the left, so I don't need to move any variables. So now I'm just going to move this 3.50 to the other side, this constant, by subtracting it. Okay? And 350 minus 350 is 0. And I don't feel like doing that math in my head, so I'm going to do 20.18 minus 3.5. If I want to put the 0, it doesn't matter. At $16.68, 1668 equals 1.39D. And then last but not least, we are going to divide both sides by the coefficient of 1.39. Those go away. And therefore, I'll type in 68 divided by 1.39. And we get a nice pretty whole number. So 12 equals the number of songs he downloaded. Okay? If I wanted to check that, okay? If I wanted to check that, I would have to graph it. I'd have to graph this 20.18. But in order to graph it, I would have to put y equals 20.18. And then on the other side, I would say 1.39x plus 350. And then I would see where they cross, which is over here. Let's see what the x value is. 12. It works. Okay? So that's how we do number 7. Okay? Number 8. Okay. So if you're struggling with being able to solve the equations, but you are able to graph them, you're like, I got this. I can graph this. Cool. That's excellent. But there are going to be some questions like these where they ask you to find the mistake. So that's why we're really focusing on doing these by hand first before we try to solve them by graphing. So it says a student tried to solve the following equation but made a mistake. Help the student solve the equation correctly and circle the step where they made a mistake. All right. So I got 6 minus 4 parentheses 6x plus 2 equals negative 38. So first step is to ask, can you distribute? Well, I need to distribute, so I'm going to distribute. Okay, that negative 4. So really what that should give me is 6 minus 12x, and then negative 4 times 2 is minus 8 equals negative 38. Let's see if they got that. Okay, so they distributed. Okay, so they got 6 minus 12x minus 8. Okay, cool. Then the next step involves combining like terms. All right, so I'm going to look. 6 minus 12x are not like terms. 6 minus 8 are, though. So I can type that in my calculator. So I'll say 6 minus 8, which is negative 2. Okay, so I got negative 12x minus 2 equals negative 38. Okay? Did I have that? All right, so they combine like terms. They got the negative 2. But I see a mistake they made. They dropped the negative. Here's the mistake right here. Notice how just working it out myself, I was able to figure out the mistake, okay? So they dropped the negative. And that is a math no-no, okay? So that's number 7, okay? So try to do, pause the video and try to do number 8. Okay? All right, let's move on. Number 9. It says, what is the solution set for 2x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 24? All right, once again, we're going to solve this just like we solve equations, okay? So I'm going to draw a line down the center, and that's like a wall. Look for parentheses, no parentheses. I'll look for like terms. Well, that's an x. That one doesn't, no like terms. All right, I look and see if I need to move variables to both sides. Well, I got a variable on the left, but not on the right. Okay. Now I'm going to see about moving constants. Well, that's a variable, but this is a constant, so I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. So I get 2x equals 24 minus 4 is 20. And then last step I'm going to do is divide. Divide both sides by 2. So I get x, and then 20 divided by 2 is 10. And then notice I did not divide by a negative number. So therefore, that greater than or equal to sign comes along for the ride. Okay. All right, number 10. We're going to solve it the same way, okay? Now, before I try to solve it, I'm going to graph this thing, okay? 86 plus 12x, and then I'm going to hit enter. Then I hit 4 parentheses 3x minus 11, close parenthesis, okay? And I'm going to zoom out until I can see these things crossing, if I can. Looks like there's somewhere up here. It might be, I'm going to move this over a little bit. Let's see. Let me make my window a little bit bigger. Okay. Okay, I'm going to hide that. Okay. Now, it's a little difficult to see where they're crossing, isn't it? They might not be crossing. I think they are, though. So, it kind of looks like they're parallel. So, that's kind of leading me to believe that this might be a no solution. Let's check it, though, okay? All right, so I'm going to look at this. First step is to ask, can you distribute? Well, there's parentheses there, so I'm going to multiply through. So 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 times negative 11 is minus 44. And I can't distribute, so I'm just going to bring the 86 plus 12x. Okay. I don't have like terms on either side, so now I'm going to collect variables to one side. So I'm going to move over one of my 12x's by subtracting it. 12x minus 12x is 0. 12x minus 12x is 0. Uh-oh, I've gotten rid of my constants, y'all. All right, so I got 86 and I got negative 44. I'm going to bring down my inequality sign. If this was an equation like I just did over here, and you see parallel lines, that would tell me no solution. But this is not an equation, y'all. This is an inequality. So there actually is an answer, because it says 86 is greater than or equal to negative 44. Is that true? That is true. Okay? However, if it's true, that tells me any number I put in for x will make it true, because this is always true. Always true. That one's kind of a strange one. Okay? Let's look at number 11. All right, I'm going to draw my wall down the inequality sign. First thing I want to do is distribute, if I can. And I have parentheses, so I'm going to distribute this negative 5 here and here. So, I haven't done anything with that 6x. It's just going to come down for the ride. Negative 5 times 2x is negative 10x. Negative 5 times positive 4 is minus 20. I still got that greater than sign. I still got that 4. Now I'm going to see if I can combine like terms. 6x minus 10x. Those are like terms. So I'm going to delete these. Okay. I'm going to hit home to reset my window. All right, and then so 6 minus 10. 6 minus 10 is negative 4. Okay. So I'm going to write negative 4x minus 20 is greater than 4. Then after I've collected variables on one side, which I already have them, I'm going to move this constant of minus 20 over to the other side by adding it. Okay, so I'm running out of room. And so I have negative 4x is greater than 24. Last step I want to do is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. And if I type 24 divided by negative 4, oops, not 0.4, negative 4 is negative 6. So I get x and negative 6. Now, notice I did not write my inequality sign. The reason I did, I left that blank, is because we are dividing by a negative number. When you're dividing by a negative number, your inequality sign flips. Okay? All right, last, we got 2 more. We're going to do some literal equations. Okay, so number 12. It says solving for x when we're given this. 4x plus d equals 7. All right, so just because there's other letters involved don't be scared, okay? So we're going to draw our line. I can't distribute. There's no parentheses. These are not like terms. I already have the x on one side, so now I'm going to move my other stuff to the other side. So I got this plus d, so I'm going to subtract d from both sides. So d minus d is 0. So I get 4x equals 7 minus d. Because those are not the same. Those are not like terms. So I'm just going to rewrite it. And then last but not least, to get rid of that 4, I'm just going to divide both sides by 4. So x, and I'm going to leave my answer as a fraction. X equals 7 minus d all over 4. And that's my answer. Okay. Number 13 says, write the following equation in terms of y. 3x minus 2y equals 18. We're going to be doing this a lot in this class, guys. A lot throughout this year, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get y by itself. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to move this 3x to the other side. This 3x is not multiplying, it's being subtracted. So this thing, to begin with, is positive. So the opposite of positive 3x is minus 3x. And when they subtract each other, they go away. So I'm left with negative 2y equals 18 minus 3x. Notice I didn't do any arithmetic because I can't. These are not like terms. And then finally, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. Y equals 18 minus 3x all over negative 2. And I could simplify that fraction a little bit, but I'm not going to for this. Okay? I'm just going to leave it as a big old fraction. Okay? Guys, if you have any questions, I'm here every day after school. And my room is 1118. Okay? If you have questions, come see me at 1118. 11:18 after school every single day. I'm here till at least 3:30 every single day. 11:18. All right, till next time, guys.